It's my pleasure to welcome you here to the Clark Howard Show. Our mission is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you make better financial decisions in your life. So the giant monster megas have decided, people are leaving us, so we're going to offer them more interest. Is it worth it? I'm going to give you some updated info on your money. Later, speaking of money, small business owners are having a hard time borrowing money. And I just heard a story from a friend about what happened to his son. And it's an important lesson for any small business owner or entrepreneur that I'm going to share with you straight ahead. So the four giant monster mega banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, and Citi, were proud for years to continue to pay the princely sum on your savings of 1/100th of 1%. And as savings rates kept climbing with regional banks and local banks and credit unions and online banks, and today generally in the range of 5% more or less, the giant monsters were telling Wall Street, hey, this is great. Our customers are such creatures of habit. They're just leaving their money here, earning 1/100th of 1%. We're stealing from them. Reverse bank robbery in place. So now, most recent quarter, the banks were whining to Wall Street that they're having to pay people as much as 2% interest now in order to keep people from migrating their money in savings and CDs to other places. All the way from 1/100th of 1% to 2%. And that seems to have been enough to stem the outflow of money. That people that are with the four giant monster megas that account for a little bit more than half of banking in the United States, that these four were like, yeah, well, we offer people crumbs, little more crumbs. They'll stay with us with their money. Okay, so you can do that, and maybe you're earning 2 instead of 1/100th of 1%. But why would you do that when you could earn 5 or 4.5 or 4.4 or 5.25 or whatever it is? It's your money. Or if you have accounts with one of my 3 favorite children, with Schwab, Fidelity, or Vanguard, you can put money in a U.S. Treasury fund, which, they're all bank accounts insured to $250 by the feds. And then you've got money market accounts that are U.S. Treasury funds, government securities funds that are paying 5-ish%. And they're even a hair safer than having money with one of the four giant monster megas. And your money's available to you whenever you want it. So the thing I want you to think about is why. Why would you, after you worked hard to make your money, to set money aside to save and not spend, to have it in a savings account or have it in a CD with one of the four giant monster megas, when instead you can move it somewhere else and earn so much more? Yeah, it's great they're now paying as much as 2%. Not enough. When inflation is higher than that, you're falling behind with every dollar you save. So you want to out-earn inflation. Anywhere else, you can make that happen other than the four giant monster mega banks. Christa?
Okay, Anne in California says, my daughter has an internship in the fall and in August for 4 months. She's going to be in Cape Canaveral, Florida. She wants to drive across the country to California so she can use her car while she's there.
Oh, from California to...
Yes,
yeah.
Sorry, to Cape Canaveral, Florida. Is there a better option, such as purchasing or renting a car while there?
Okay, 4 months. No, you don't want to rent a car. You want to purchase a car there. So there's a toss-up here. One thing you can do, there's a big business in the United States that first came about years ago because of eBay Motors, that now the way the car business works is so different than it used to be, and dealers now acquire vehicles anywhere in the country from each other, from auctions, and all that. There's a very large market where you can move an individual vehicle through a bid process. And there's a big car mover company called Montway, Montway. There are people who have a bad time with Montway. Most people are happy with it. And then there's UShip, which is a bid site for moving stuff. The letter U, ship.com. So, Ann, I would see what would it cost to just move the car across the country, not put all those miles on the car. And depending on how competitive a market is, going East Coast to West Coast tends to range between $1,000 and $1,500 one way to move a car. If you think about putting 2,000 miles on the car, effectively that's $1,000 in cost. That means that your daughter would fly from California to Florida. That's a pretty cheap flight. That's a very competitive market. And fly back and not have to be on the road for 4 days each direction. Because remember, you got hotel costs and fuel costs and costs doing that. Plus, you're worried about her being on the road by herself for 4 days crossing the country on on I-10 going across the country. So that's what I would look at, is a bid for moving the car instead of driving the car.
Goran in Georgia says, "Hey, Clark and team, I started religiously listening to you after graduating from college a few years ago, and I can't thank you enough for all the advice you provide. My soon-to-be wife has a great opportunity with her employer, which would have us and our dog move from Atlanta to San Francisco for a couple of years. We are going to take this opportunity to spend a week driving across the country, stopping at national parks and cities along the way. We plan to sell off most of our furniture before we move. I've got a few questions. We plan to sell via Facebook Marketplace, but wanted to know if there were other sites or to advertise or sell on. We are between renting a U-Haul and towing our car or getting a pod and driving our car. We're nervous about hiring a moving company. What are your thoughts? On the apartment hunt, mostly independent landlords, we have a friend who is a local and has provided some advice on locations. We won't have a chance to go out in person, which is ideal, before finding a place. How can I vet listings online and trust postings I see?"
Okay, can I possibly keep up with all those things?
Lot.
So I'll go in reverse order. First things first, I would reorient your schedule to make the time to go out there to look at places. I just don't feel you're going to be able to get a good feel for the safety of a neighborhood, the quality of a place, whether you're going to feel secure in that area without having eyes on the ground, your eyes on the ground. So you're talking about a round trip that's probably somewhere $400 to $500 round trip, plus your expenses on the ground, plus the time going around and looking. Spend it, because once you sign that lease, you're in a position where you're stuck. And I've heard this too many times to tell you that you cannot adequately scope a major metro area like the San Francisco Bay Area without being on the ground. Second thing, I really like your idea of, on a move that's 2,800 miles, that you do something like those pods. And you pack it yourself, goes on their long distance truck and dumps at the other end, instead of you pulling your car behind a U-Haul, driving that all the way across the country, or any other brand of truck.
And into national parks and everything.
Yeah. I think you just go enjoy the trip across the country in your own vehicle, enjoy the national parks, and get your stuff on the road. Did I miss any of the questions?
No, I don't think you did. I would also suggest...
the selling stuff.
Oh, yeah, selling stuff.
See, I knew I forgot something.
See, I'm flaky too. We just said that the other day.
So, no, I said I'm flaky. So the Facebook Marketplace, is not as good as it used to be because it's been infested by a lot of con artists. So you have to be careful. Also, Nextdoor may be an outlet depending on the Nextdoor in your area of Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you could try Nextdoor. Any others?
Those are the two I would use. I mean, you could do Craigslist, but I've had
No.
great luck with Nextdoor and
use
Facebook
Craigslist.
Marketplace for sure.
Yeah, but Facebook Marketplace, somebody says, oh, we're going to send you a check, sight unseen or whatever. That's leading into a scam. Know that somebody wants to, well, this sounds like the theme of the apartment. Mm-hmm. Somebody wants to see your stuff before they're making you an offer, usually, on Facebook Marketplace or Nextdoor, because they're buying used stuff. They want to see the condition. And so if somebody says, oh, I'm just going to send you the money and a friend's going to come pick it up, that's going to be a scam.
And I would also, on the apartment thing, if they really can't get out there and they're in a pinch, I would look at renting an Airbnb for 1 month and then finding an apartment since they're going to be there so long.
So then you'd have to store your stuff for a month, but I like that. That's a good suggestion. Anything other than renting a place, sight unseen, in a metro area. Atlanta is a big metro area. The San Francisco Bay Area is a bigger metro area and is more inconsistent as a metro area, more complicated than the Atlanta metro area. And that's why you need eyes on the ground.
All right, this came in from Tony in Texas. Clark, I just wanted to share a reminder for your listeners to be cautious about giving out their information to vendors at festivals. I was recently at a festival, provided info for someone trying to grow a new quote-unquote neighborhood app. They said they were entering me in a raffle and that I could invite my neighbors. I assumed this was optional and would be prompted by me. To my surprise, they mailed letters out addressed from me with my name and street.
They didn't.
Promoting their app.
What?
An app I had never even used. Additionally, I found out they also sent letters with my name but with other streets trying to imply that I lived on your street. This is shady marketing at best and outright forgery at worst. Just wanted to share an embarrassing lesson learned. And if you want to share the name of the company app, and they gave it to me, if you Google, you will find at least one other article where they did the same to others. So we'll look into this.
Okay, that's wild. I never, ever, when we're at a festival, street fair, whatever, and they have those raffles, I never fill them out. Now, usually it's not as sneaky as this one. They're just using it as a lead generator, and then they call you and they say, oh, you didn't win the big prize, but you won whatever. And by the way, let us tell you about our whatever.
Or
you have
you
to
win
come to our place
Yeah.
to claim your winnings, and then they do some kind of sales pitch or whatever.
You win a chance to get a timeshare pitch.
That does happen. So if for many reasons, if you're out and about, your guard's kind of down, you're having a good time, music's playing, the weather's beautiful, you're in some park walking around a festival, and somebody says, oh, enter a raffle to win a whatever, and you're like, oh, wow, and you just do it because you just have lost your sense of caution because of what a great day you're having. Don't do it. Don't do it. Coming up ahead, there's something I never want you to do. If you own your own business and it's spreading like a plague. A friend called me with a tale of woe that his son owned a business, and his son realized he didn't have enough money to pay current payroll at his business, and in a panic borrowed money from one of those lenders that said, we'll lend you money in minutes. And this is an absolute curse on entrepreneurs and small business owners because there are not the same legal disclosures required on a loan to a business as there is a loan to a consumer. Loan to a consumer, if you read the documents, it has to tell you the interest rate and the terms and what fees. Business loans don't have to do that. So there are all these lenders out there, call them lenders, they're really sharks, that are offering quick loans to businesses. I get solicited as a business owner. I get solicitations every single week. And I look through all of them because I want to be prepared to answer questions about it. And with almost without exception, they never disclose an interest rate. All they're talking about is you can get money for your business in, just a blink, in minutes or days. And so if I'm a business owner, I've worked hard, I'm an entrepreneur, I've established something, and I've hit a wall cash flow-wise, I'm tempted. I'm going to want to save my business, and here's somebody throwing me a lifeline that's actually an anchor that will drown me. In the case of my friend who called me about his son took out a loan that had fees and interest that effectively were over 150%. 150%. And the son's business was going down the tubes, and the dad's like, wait, they can't do this, can they? And I explained to him what I just explained to you, that these last minute, up to the second lenders to businesses actually are legal loan sharks in most states. They can do this and charge you whatever, and all different kinds of fees and junk fees and huge interest payments and all of the above. This has become a big business because the small community local banks that serve small businesses overwhelmingly closed in a 2-year period from 2008 to 10. And although small local banks are forming again, it's really a hollowed out sector. So small business owners have a really hard time when they need money. You can't go to a big bureaucratic regional bank or big bank and just say, hey, I need money for payroll. Can you give me a loan? And they'll give you a stack of forms to fill out or tell you electronically where to do it. And they'll make a decision in 3 months. That doesn't solve anything. So what I recommend for a small business owner is that you're going to be stunned what I'm going to say. You'll be like, how could I be saying this? You want to have credit cards that you have for your business. Because even though on business credit cards you may be paying 20 to 35% interest, it's going to be so much cheaper for you if you need to take a cash advance, even if you have to do that to meet payroll or pay rent, and service a loan at 20 to 35%. It'll be so much cheaper than going to one of these distressed lenders that all they do is make the problem worse for you by charging you these 3-digit interest rates. So the time to get those is when your standing is good and you need to get one. Now, there's 2 ways to do it. I've got a guide at Clark.com to the best small business credit cards. We've updated the best ones for 24 and go through what makes them best. But with a business credit card, you don't have the same protections. Doesn't this sound like the same story again? You don't have the same protections with a business credit card about grace period and all that you do with a consumer credit card. So there's no reason you couldn't have consumer cards you do that you use for your business. You're liable in either case. Even if you get a business credit card, you're personally liable for it, just as you are with a consumer card. But credit cards have become the most viable replacement for a small business owner or an entrepreneur for having what we had before, the ongoing relationship with a small, locally owned bank. Christa?
All right. Aaron has a question. He's in New York and says, I'm debating how to pay my weekly daycare bill in New York City. I'll let you know that we
Weekly
found...
daycare bill in New York City, what's that, $6,000 a week? How much is it in New York?
I'll let you know that we found one of the more affordable spots in New York City. Here are the two options in their weekly cost: $610 by ACH or $625 by credit card. I calculated that I need a rewards card of at least 2.46% to break even using a credit card, but I don't think that exists. I also have seen in the news daycare is just closing without notice. Is paying only the credit card fee worth the insurance of knowing I won't ever be totally out of any potential payments made? Thanks for any advice about this daycare in general.
So, Aaron, yeah, this is an interesting thing. If you were to get one of the 2% cashback cards that you can get no annual fee, we have a list of them, again, in our credit card section at clark.com, you would be losing 0.46, which is not a terrible amount of money per week. 0.46 on 625. Come on, can't you do that quickly? That would be $3 a week, approximately. Quick math. I think it's worth the $3 a week as a miniature insurance policy with one of those 2% cashback cards. We do have one on there that pays 2.5% as an annual fee and has all kinds of other requirements with it. So I think if you just get a simple 2% cashback card and use it to pay, you're good.
Stephen in Nebraska says, several times on your podcast you've mentioned the problem with gift cards and the potential for receiving one that has been emptied. I tend to pay attention to consumer affairs locally and never heard of this as an issue. I buy gift cards to replenish my Amazon account on almost a weekly basis, buying them from various local stores, and I've never had a problem. To better put this problem into context, are there certain areas of the country where this is a bigger problem?
All right, so Stephen, what's called card draining is a really fast-growing crime, and where it's happening overwhelmingly is on store display racks of gift cards that are out on the sales floor or at the register but not behind the register. Criminal grabs those surreptitiously. They take them home. They use a pretty simple process to remove the white strip from the cards. They record the information in a computer program, and then they recover the strip where you can't tell it's been played games with. It goes back on the shelf, you buy it, and then the second it's activated at the register, the criminal is given an alert by the software program, and they drain the card. That's why it's called card draining. When you go to use it, it's empty. You were really lucky buying cards almost every single week that you've never been hit by a card drain. So that is a very unusual thing. Maybe you're buying them behind a counter instead of exposed out on a sales floor at a retailer, gas station, convenience store, whatever. So you're playing with time and fire. So I'm curious, and I'm sure you have your reasons, but if you buy from Amazon that much, that you're buying Amazon gift cards all the time, why wouldn't you get Amazon's credit card? Doesn't it pay 5% back? In your case, if you were like a dedicated Amazon Prime shopper, it would be very much to your advantage to just have the Amazon credit card, keep it simple, and you get your 5% back on every purchase. Maybe you don't like credit cards, I don't know. But the gift cards are a serious risk area for you because of the card draining scams.
Charles in Texas says, I wanted to pass along another tip to the Clarkies. I shop at a specific online retailer frequently. I recently got the price of a very nice shirt down from an original price of $119 to $39 just by entering the website in a different way. For instance, I originally clicked on a link in a promotional email from the retailer, which got the price to $79. Then I closed that window and just Googled the retailer's name and the product I was looking for. I clicked on one of those links, which gave me the $39 price. I've saved so much money at various retailers doing this over the years. Do some extra clicking and never pay full price for clothing.
Okay, I love this. Charles, this is great. I mean, people have so many different strategies, and you just using different routes to get to the price. I use some of the shopping bots that pop up in the corner of my Chromebook, and a lot of times they're really annoying. Then other times it's like, how did it get me that price? And that recently happened with something where I got a much lower price through a third-party shopping thing than I did direct with it. You did it through a Google search. So this is a real thing, that the more you play hard to get online, the more you might save money. Do you have any other strategies you try?
No, I go to Clark Deals and see what they have often. I like to check out and see if they have any
Of
extra
course you'd say
coupons or
Clark
anything like
Deals.
that. But I also do this. If I find a product I like, I'll search for that specific item, a clothing item, and look at different stores. And then I look at the used. I always look on like eBay and other places to see if somebody's reselling that clothing item that I like.
Yeah, okay, so the eBay angle is really interesting. By the way, I was teasing about Clark Deals. Clark Deals is fantastic. I can't wait every day for our daily newsletter. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we'll have discount codes you need to get the lower price you don't know is there, as a way to save money.
ClarkDeals.com.
Yeah, thank you.
Our team works hard. I just
They do work hard.
Promote what they do.
They do a great job. But when I'm shopping around for things, it's amazing how the price is not the price is not the price. That there are so many different strategies, and try them all. But one area I want to give one word of caution. You mentioned doing a Google search to find the $39 deal for a shirt. The problem you can have with a Google search is you end up at a phony site that looks exactly like the real one. You think you're buying it, and instead you've given your credit card information to a crook. So be really aware with those Google searches. In this case, it worked out fine. You saved a fortune. I've never paid $39 for a shirt. I'm sure it's gorgeous. It's way above my price range. I don't like to go past single digits for a shirt. Those of you who watch our YouTube show, you know that I don't spend any money on my clothes at all. Why are you shaking your head at me?
I'm just laughing at you.
It's so true, isn't it?
It's true, for sure. You walk, we got in trouble for that. Walk the walk.
It's supposed to be walk the talk, talk
somebody,
the walk.
I don't know. There was a Clark Stinks that came
No, we
in
got
there.
it. Somehow I got it. It's walk the talk or talk the walk was what the explanation was. That
I'll find it.
walk the talk. Whichever way it was that we had in the Clark Stinks. But the clothing thing is a real differentiator between my wife and me. My wife dresses ridiculously beautifully and overwhelmingly buys her clothes used. And there are all these really nice labels I don't know of. And I wear my very, very low quality, low cost clothes. And I really wear them till they become rags. So it's just not one of those things that's a priority for me. I was with one of my brothers-in-law yesterday, and he was wearing these just beautiful loafers. And I was like, those are so good looking. And it turned out they were custom loafers.
How much?
He wouldn't tell me.
Oh, my goodness.
He wouldn't tell me, because the other day I was on the Rockport site. They were having a special sale. My loafers have holes in the soles. Mm-hmm. And they're too old and too beat up to recover again. I mean, and when it rains, recently I was at an event where I had to wear loafers. I was walking in the rain, and my feet were soaked.
Yeah, that's time to replace those. Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
I'm on Rockport, and the loafers were $69 on sale. I couldn't do it.
Well, you could resole your shoes, couldn't you?
No, they're really too old and beat up. They need to be replaced. I've had these loafers since 2008, I think.
Wow.
And they're the only pair of loafers I have. And so basically I've worn them out, and I have no other dress shoes. And I just have not replaced them because they're always so expensive. And I used to be able to buy loafers in the kids department at Shoe Carnival. And
The kids
years ago.
department?
Kids department at Shoe Carnival. Because kids' feet are so much bigger than they used to be.
Wow.
And they used to sell Bass Weejan kids loafers, and they were a real deal, and they don't sell them anymore.
You know, Costco needs to come out with a KS loafer.
I did have Kirkland signature loafers.
They did make them?
They did, like 20-something years ago. I had Kirkland signature loafers. Where those have gone to, I probably left them somewhere. Who knows?
They may have been donated in a move. By your aforementioned beautiful. She really does dress beautifully. Lane is beautiful inside and out, and she wears beautiful clothing.
Okay, so this is a true story. Whenever we move, stuff of mine just kind of disappears in donation bags to a thrift store. And I don't know where they are. They just got lost in the move.
Funny how that happens.
She's so right. But someday I'll open up the wallet. And I should have done it after I got my feet got wet.
Well, your birthday's coming up, so you just gave me an idea.
You can't spend that kind of money. I'm not going to tell you what size loafers I wear. You can't.
You think I can't figure that out?
All right. I think we should go on.
Yeah. No,
I think we should let people go on with their days.
Yeah.
But anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Remember what we're about. You learning ways to save more, spend less, and avoid getting ripped off. And see you tomorrow.